Right, we're actually doing an episode 2. I'm actually really surprised at how well episode 1 did. I was I was not expecting the kind of love it got. I mean, it's not like pure love, but it's like people seem to be relatively interested. We're trying to do a bit more of a probably more popular, maybe not to the people that follow the page, but definitely to people that would just come across it, and maybe people that would listen to the podcast. We're doing IDLES today, discography review. Hope you like
Yeah.
IDLES. Today I'm joined by Arshoni. Say hi,
Hello.
Shoni.
Hello, I'm here. To be fair, I am with you on that. I am completely surprised by the way that the Declan Mechanic podcast actually got any views whatsoever, but it's actually done fairly well compared to what we expected. So, yeah, looking forward to IDLES today.
Do you know how many days we've got left before we are able to get monetization?
Yeah, it's another 115 episodes.
Fucking hell.
As it stands. So in 115 episodes, we should be raking it in, basically. According to YouTube's requirements for monetization.
115?
Yep. I mean,
it's not terrible. But it's like if we're gonna do one a week, that's over 2 years.
And at this rate, I think in about 15 years' time, we might be making national minimum wage.
So, you know, that is wait, we don't even make minimum wage when we get monetization.
No, you only get like a few quid for like a quid for 1,000 views or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Brilliant.
So it's a long-term thing. That's how you know we're in it for the long term. We are going to be going for the next sort of 20, 30 years until we've actually made some money off of this, because that's all we want, really. We don't actually enjoy this whatsoever.
And if anyone's not into the bands that we've done so far, I am trying to, well, we're trying to think of bands to cover all different grounds, all areas of what people might like. We definitely more indie the first time with Declan, and now we're definitely more punk, definitely more rock. You know, with this one, which I'll be the first to say, IDLES is definitely not our usual scene, is it, Ethan?
Yeah, I was about to come in there when you said, you're trying to cater to all audiences and not everything's going to suit everyone. IDLES for me, like we'll get into it obviously in a minute, it would have been something that I'd never ever in a million years even consider listening to. But along the way, I might have had one or two pleasant surprises. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to talking about it, to be honest.
There are times you just burst out laughing with the lyrics, isn't it?
Yeah, they are comedians in their lyrics. And
some of the lyrics are absolutely brilliant. Well, we're going to get into it, but like I said, we're not only going to do discography reviews, we are planning on doing other stuff. Nothing set in stone yet, but something that fans of all music could listen to, if you know what I mean. It's I don't want to alienate anyone by just doing, they haven't done Arctic Monkeys yet, it's going to be shit. We do plan on doing Arctic Monkeys eventually, but we also want to try and keep it to bands that are releasing music now and are relevant to us, because we like listening to new music. We don't want to keep listening to the same albums over and over again. It does interest us. So hopefully, if you guys have got any requests about any upcoming albums you might like, of a band you like, drop it in the comments. We'll see what we can do. We're obviously going to do some throwback ones eventually, of maybe even bands that aren't making music anymore.
For those people waiting for the Arctic Monkeys special, it's the 10,000 subscribers, so get people coming.
10k sub. Oh my god, I can't even imagine it.
Nah, it's a long time off, but yeah, eventually we will do bigger bands, Strokes, Arctic Monkeys, etc. But for now, we're just sticking to the new music and relevant topics. I think it'll be good. So, are we ready to crack on with Brutalism?
Just one more thing. I did say this isn't usually our scene. I don't mean to piss anyone off if you guys absolutely love IDLES. You can think of us as very much casuals in this kind of scene. Yeah. We're going to try our absolute best to do each song justice and everything like that. But please do be aware, this isn't usually our scene. I'm trying my absolute best to love all different kinds of music. I did like a lot of this stuff. But if I do shit on a song and you guys aren't happy about it, please don't send me death threats.
I kind of disagree with you there. I think any Idols fans out there, I want you to absolutely rip into us and tell us how awful our opinions are about Idols.
We can do an Idols Redux this time next year. Are we actually ready to get into it?
Yep, I'm ready.
Right, Brutalism came out in 2017. It was they released an EP back in 2012, so this was a few years in the making. Their first one. It came out with Brutalism. It's we'll talk about how the whole album feels at the end, but we'll just go track by track. Gonna go straight into it. First one, I did like this song. It was really good drums, really good bass, great tones. I did think the guitars were a tad bit underused, but I don't know whether that's because they just kind of blended into one another, and it's just power chords, and it's just a chord progression. You don't really get that with punk. You don't really get like mad riffs going over the top of stuff. I don't know what were your thoughts on this one, lad?
So we jumped into this first song, Heal, and the first thing that happens in this song is there's a bit of background noise, and then someone screams at the top of their lungs in a high-pitched voice, "No surrender." And I thought, what the fuck have I got myself in for here? Like, I mean, yeah, I can kind of agree with you. I wasn't too like overly fond of the verses, but you know where when it kicks into the chorus, I'm not like you, I'm just saying I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was quite strong, I've got to say.
What I did find with this album, they really bank on the lyrics driving everything, don't they?
Yeah, that's something that's going to continue as a theme throughout this one, because, like, obviously, this one, would you say Brutalism is kind of the most sort of opinionated and based in politics album out of...
I don't know about... This one's definitely most based in politics, but they...
I think it's kind of driven by it. Yeah, I think you're right by saying that.
Yeah, I mean, you could boil everything down to politics, but when you look at the likes of Mother, it's about mothers working too much and all that, and that's a topic within itself. It's not really about politics. This one is definitely more, like fuck the system kind of deal, but there's a lot of difficult topics that they tackle in later albums, in other songs as well. So this one's definitely more political, but opinionated, I wouldn't know. I think they're all very opinionated albums.
Right, okay. Yeah, it talks about moving into a Bristolian Bovis home. I mean, I noticed straight away, like, that the lyrics are... And this was also a theme that you could find in quite a few songs throughout Idols. The lyrics are quite repetitive, but I think that's just that's by design, it's not by flaw.
It's not like he couldn't write a lyric for it. It's that he wanted to say the same thing 8 times over.
Yeah.
So it's a very heavy start to the album. I think it's a decent start, some nice lyrics. I'm interested at the minute, mate. I'm interested to see what's coming up. So, want to move on to the next one, lad?
Can I just say at this point, I was dreading what was to come, because what I decided to do from here is, like, I thought, this is the first song, it's got to get better from here, and then I listened to the third album first, and then came back to the first album, because I just thought, it's got to get better eventually. But I'm disappointed that I did that now, because the next track, well done. What a fucking tune.
This is a little bit of a belter. The lyrics are brilliant here. He didn't quite have to go in on Mary Berry like he did, though.
I mean, yeah, he's proper called out Mary Berry. She's got a job, she loves reggae, she's got a degree. I mean,
she got a medal.
Yeah.
For Mary Berry. Like, when's Mary Berry's reply coming in there? That's what I want to know. This is a
Mary Berry diss track could be coming the other way eventually. I mean, she has waited a couple of years. I mean, maybe that's why she left the Bake Off.
She, she left the Bake Off to take down IDLES. Right, yeah, great lyrics. I'm not entirely sure what the fuck's going on, to be honest. But they were all very funny. Do you know exactly what they're talking about here, lad? I'd rather cut my nose off to spite my face.
Well, no, it's sort of like, so why don't you get a job? Why don't you get a medal? Why don't you like reggae, stuff like that? What it says that it's the societal norms, isn't it, really? And then he's saying, nah, I'd rather cut my nose off to spite my face. That's what I got from it anyway.
I did type in what well done means. Well, I know what well done means, but like in terms of this song, and apparently it's like some proper like local banter in Bristol. I'm not too sure exactly what it means, so I won't like piss off any Bristolians. Yeah. But it's the equivalent of us going Hayes there or something like that.
No, I think it's just meant to be like sarcastically shouting, "Oh, well done, mate, well done." You know what I mean? Just like one of those. Just like, well done for following society. Well done for being just this normal person. But when he says, "I'd rather cut my nose off to spite my face," that's him being the opposite. You know what I mean?
It's a fun album.
I like the punchy guitars in this one as well.
The guitar, I still think the guitar was a little bit underused.
Definitely
and
underused.
I know what the thing in about punk bands, it's just meant to be huge, big, driving songs that fly through, but you can get that with a bass on its own if you get the right tone, get a bit of fuzz going, bit of overdrive, and then the bass could make the exact same sound they do here with bass and two guitars. I know it's not meant, you're not meant to, but like add a little riff, you know what I mean? Add something to it, or maybe like a big guitar downwards power chord, just offbeat or something, just to make it a little bit more interesting, because I wasn't crazy interested.
I can understand what you're saying by that, but like I kind of, especially in the verses, I kind of like the punchiness of don't why don't you get a job, don't why, you know. It was just like a sort of I think that it was more, obviously I know what you're saying in terms of make it more interesting, but I do think it was by design, and I think it doesn't work.
It's 100% by design.
It won't work for every song,
no.
But I think it does work well here.
Yeah, it's a fun song. It's just at the minute they have used the same formula 2 songs in a row, but we'll see what's happening. Third song, mate. Mother is a banger. I really like this song.
Go on. Personally, this, I know it's a very, very popular song. I think it's meant to be the most popular on this first album. It actually wasn't my favourite, and I don't know why. Go on, I'll let you carry on and saying what you were going to say, and then see what I think.
Well, let me slate it a little bit. The production isn't brilliant on this album. There's a lot of, if you listen to it, there's a lot of tapping, there's a lot of ringing that shouldn't be there.
100%, yeah.
It's a lot of, obviously Joe's singing, or whatever you fucking call it, is very, very raspy, very raw, and they're really going for this raw feel, and they're really banking on that, but they just lose out on a lot of sound that could have been picked up if they had a little bit better production, a little bit more. I hate to say it with a punk band because it's not what you're meant to do, but it did need to be just a little bit more polished here and there. Not everywhere, but here and there.
But the other thing about it is, like, debut album. I know they've been going for 5 years at this point, but like, it's kind of to an extent to be expected.
This was a relatively high profile album. It's not like they didn't have the money to get a good. It's just it wasn't up to standard of.
Okay.
Money was probably I'm 75% sure money was not a problem here. In terms of production, I just think that they're losing a lot. Just a little bit of polish here and there. But the actual song, really, really good lyrics. Very interesting by what he's talking about. Mothers were only having enough time to literally sleep. Single working mothers.
I said this is IDLES version of Kanye West's "Hey Mama." Talking about the hard working
it is
class
actually.
mom. But instead of having like a little beautiful chorus where he talks about how much he loves his mom, he just screams "motherfucker" about the system. And yeah.
The lyrics do always find a way to surprise me,
Nothing surprises me anymore after listening to 3 albums. Nothing.
I think a brilliant lyric is the best way to scare a Tory is to read and get rich, is to beat them at their own game. It's a very meaningful lyric, and it just goes to show like he's trying to talk about everyone's working hard, but it's some get lucky. Some
they
get
don't
lucky.
Waffle, do they? They're to the point.
They're very to the point. They're somehow incredibly tongue-in-cheek all the time, but they're so just brutally honest in Brutalism.
Yes, I was going to say, especially in this album. Maybe that's what they should have called it. Brutally honest.
Brutally honest.
Yeah.
Actually makes a lot more sense now, the name of the album. It's very...
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with myself.
Maybe that's why they didn't clean it up, because they wanted it to sound as brutal as it is.
It is a very brutal album. It's very loud. It's very angry. It's not... It a little bit more polished, and it could have been really good. But it's they made what they wanted. I'll agree. Just because it's not for you and me doesn't mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to move on to the next?
Date Night.
Date Night. I can imagine this going fucking mad live. This would go insane live. The drums, brilliant. Bass seems to be the driving force of each song. I never said the lyrics were before, but the bass just seems to really take it along with it. Go on.
I've said the exact same thing here. Like, literally, I've noted at this point that the drums and the bass are literally pulling this album through. Like, they always
really are.
so consistent. Like John and Adam are so like strong throughout this whole album. I think this was. I mainly gotta say I like the drum and basses were what carried the verse and were the only thing that kept them interesting, really. But I do like the chorus of this as well, and I can imagine definitely this chorus going off live. I guess we were born to fail. That would properly go off.
This would go off. After hearing most of this album, I'd be like, can you imagine seeing them back in 2017 when they just play this start to finish? It'd be death in the pits, man.
Well, I haven't actually seen them play Date Night live. I should have probably looked before this, but I'd like to know if they did the end. They do the ending part live, where it's just Joe on his own shouting, "Yes, no, yes, no, yes." What is that about?
It's brilliant. It's so shit. It's brilliant.
It's just like shit.
If any other
keeps you laughing.
If any other frontman did that, it'd be like, what the fuck is this lyric? But Joe gets to get away with it because they do it on every song, and it's now part of their charm. It's a good song. It follows the same formula. Drum and bass, bank on that to take it in. Guitars come in, not much really adding to it, just a bit of, I don't know, volume. And the lyrics are just hilarious, as per usual. I've got nothing more to say. What about you, lad?
No, not on Date Night. No, that's
Faith in the City, then?
Faith in the City.
It was at this point, it was getting a tad repetitive now.
Yep.
It was getting, not quite getting on my tits, but it's noticeable, like, oh yeah, there's a drum and bass, and there's the guitars coming at the chorus. Yeah, I hear that. the lyrics are definitely the biggest change in each song. Obviously, you can't have the same lyrics, but the way he delivers them and it does change. But otherwise,
in an album, you'd expect like the main thing to be the changing factor that sort of distinguishes songs to be sort of the music and the way the music works around the singer. But I can see what you mean by, like, you know, the only thing that's really changing throughout this album is always a solid bass line, solid drums, bit of guitar just thrown in sort of spurts, and you know the lyrics are the main sort of distinguishing factor.
The verses are interesting because you can really hear Joe's vocals. You can really
him shouting, "Uncle Noel's got cancer in his brain."
Yeah.
I just wasn't expecting that at the very start of the song.
Lad, you just expect the worst at this point because you have no idea what the fuck's coming up. But like, what I found in the choruses at this point, there's a big difference between moulding together and melting together. When all the instruments mould together, you can get a really powerful sound. And it works for a lot of bands, especially like, let's say, early Monkeys, when it's just the chorus going on. They mould together and they make a brilliant sound in these choruses. The problem is with here, they melt together. That's where each instrument drowns each other out to the point at which it's just kind of like a mush. The best way I can describe it, imagine you're making cheese on toast, but you've got 5 different cheeses and you grate them all together. You're not going to be able to taste all the different cheeses, are you? And all you do is just taste, oh yeah, that is cheese. You can't.
If you layered them nicely into separate strips,
you make like square patch. You can taste the difference.
I kind of picked up on this when I think listening to this album probably for the second or third time, to be honest. And I just I was listening to it, and I had like, sort of my phone was just on the other side of the room and I was just playing through it and just sort of doing some work. And then I kind of realised that like I couldn't actually hear any individual instrument. It was all just kind of like mushed, like you say.
And that is meant to be what punk is. And I think the best way we can put it down to is that it just doesn't really do it for us. The reason, let's say, I love Queens of the Stone Age is because you can hear every single instrument on every part. You can hear everything, the different bass lines, the different guitars, the piano. They all mould together and make this brilliant sound. This melts together and makes this mush of a sound. It's a good song. I like the song. I like the lyrics. I like everything. But it just kind of... you know what I mean? It's getting a bit repetitive now. It's getting a bit tired.
You see, I would have... If we only listened to this album, I'd completely agree with everything you were saying.
But we are just talking about this album at the minute.
You know, right, okay. So the sort of... Yeah, the vibe that I'm getting from this album, I kind of have to agree with you, yeah.
It's a bit... The lyrics are definitely the most interesting part, for me anyway. So, what else we got? It's, do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Right, next one. 1049, Gotho.
God.
You're not a fan?
I'm going to really piss off some people by it here because this is meant to be one of the most popular songs on the album again. I just don't see it. You know, I like the guitar that came between the singing in the verses, but I don't know what it was.
It's like the first time they've used the guitar well in just for something else to listen to. Really, I did note that down.
Yeah, I did like sort of the sound of that guitar, but that was all that I really had from this song. Like, other than that, I think, you know what it really was for me that really just didn't, because you know how we've been talking about the lyrics have sort of driven this album so far, being the main factor.
Well,
I didn't like the lyrics.
I still think the bass and the drums are driving the songs.
Sorry, yeah,
But the lyrics are keeping me listening
yeah,
just to see what's next. It's the lyrics drive me. The bass and drums drive the songs.
yeah.
But this song's
The
fucking
lyrics drive you because
depressing.
it's the only variety this song
Yeah.
really has.
Yeah, it's this is really a depressing song.
Yeah.
But so it's not like it's not that he doesn't continue with his old tongue in cheek. Yes, no, shit. It's
I mean,
it's
he talks
definitely
about pissing in the kitchen sink.
as she slowly undressed.
Yeah.
Like it's a very it's still tongue in cheek, but not as much anymore. Yeah, this is, and then we're talking about the main variety is the lyrics, and it is good, but it's hard to talk about the actual music when there's just a lot of root notes.
It's a shame for me though that this was the song so far that we, for me personally, it wouldn't be for you because I think you like this song. Am I right to say?
It's an alright song, yeah.
I think it's a shame for me that this was the song where I started to like the guitar coming through because I didn't like the song as a whole. I would have preferred a nice bit of guitar in like one of the other songs that maybe could have like supported one of them and sort of dragged them up to a really, really good song that I would have liked.
It's at this point I figured out like punk is a really hard genre to review. It is not, because most songs follow the same formula because they should. It's punk.
Yeah.
And it just kind of we picked a hard one to do for episode 2.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
It's
bit more
really
experience,
challenging
isn't it?
ourselves.
Yeah.
But this song, guitars sound great. You can really pick them out for once. I'm a fan of this song. I am liking it.
I've got to say, at this point is where I did note that so far I am actually enjoying the listening to Idols more than I thought I would when I first heard, the very first song. I thought, fuck me. But after this, I kind of realised actually I need to be a bit more kind of open-minded, and it's actually not as bad as I first assumed it was going to be. I don't know if you were actually enjoying it up to this point, or was it a bit more of a drag for you?
It was a bit of a drag. Yeah, I wasn't. I was expecting, because I do listen to a fair bit of Idols, especially the second album, but I didn't really listen to the first album much, and I was a bit disappointed. I expected better. I expected more variation. I expected more like what they did on the second album. Obviously, they've grown as musicians, but it was getting a bit draggy for me here. Do you want?
I mean, this album especially though, like, when were the songs written? Because obviously they were going between 2012 and 2017. And obviously the album was only released in 2017, so some of these songs could be very, very old. I'm not sure on the stats for that. Maybe I should have came more prepared. But like, considering how, I mean, we will talk about the second album later in more detail, but it shows how they have evolved in such a quick sort of rate.
Thankfully, their songs, a lot of the topics they're on about is timeless. Really.
Yeah.
It's so it's like it doesn't become irrelevant if it's like you got like an anti-Trump song when Trump doesn't get in. Like, that song's a bit irrelevant now. Like, these are always going to hit home for a lot of people for years and years and years to come.
Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of songs that are on always relevant topics, now we're moving on to a song about the underfunding of the NHS. Divide and Conquer.
Brilliant intro. Ha 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 ha.
For a
Just
minute
bit quick.
20, he just says ha.
It's great intro. This is a bit of a slower song. It's like, the best way I could put it is like, it sounds really badass. It's a bit more menacing. It's a bit like not grungier, but like get rid of like the genre grunge. It's a bit grungier. You know what I mean? It's a bit thick. It's a bit more thick.
Can I say
Go
now
on.
just that after about 30 seconds, the ha's were really getting on my nerves. But after a minute, I started loving them again. It's like in comedy they say, like, you know, if you repeat something 3 times it's not funny, but by the time someone's done it 20 times then it just becomes funny again, and that's what it was for me.
Are you on to Family Guy where Peter's running home with a golden ticket? He falls over and hurts his knee,
Yeah.
and just goes, ah.
Yeah,
And he does. That's how I can imagine it. It was like, where's the rest of the lyrics? And I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant.
You know, it reminds me of the rake scene from The Simpsons. You know, Sideshow Bob standing on the rakes.
Yeah,
He just keeps on doing it.
Yeah. I did like this song. It's a bit slower, it's a bit thicker, a bit more. Lyrics are great. It's it really does. It's always impressive, his lyrics, you know.
Yeah.
A loved one perished at the hand of the barren-hearted right.
Yeah.
Wow, like that's tough.
Yeah,
That's a tough lyric, that.
Despite the fact that there isn't many lyrics to this song, even just that is just very sort of hard hitting, isn't it? You know what I mean? He's a very, very good lyricist, and I'd be surprised if he didn't getting a degree in English or something.
He says what he wants with using absolute minimal words, and it is brilliant, a lot of it. But I do find the vocals on this song, it slows down the song even more, to the point at which, I mean, obviously they're in the same tempo, but it just feels like the song's a bit, it's now, I said it was a bit thicker, but now it's like dragging through mud with the lyrics, and it's kind of, he is no longer pushing this song whatsoever. The bass is always, but they're trying to bank on the lyrics pushing the song, and it doesn't on this song. The lyrics are good, but the way he delivers them, not so good.
You see, I actually have to tend to disagree with you here, because I thought that this was sort of finally where they came to a song where they weren't letting the sort of the lyrics of Joe push us through, but they were actually trying to make the music a bit more interesting, to like make the song more about the music, which I kind of appreciated listening to it. Maybe
why would they use such a bold topic and have it mainly about the actual song? I want to clear something up. I'm more than happy that they're trying something new. For the love of God, try something new on this album. I'm getting bored about most of the stuff, but just because it didn't work out doesn't mean they're not doing well. It didn't work out, in my opinion.
Fair enough. I just think that the sort of the fact that there weren't many lyrics, and most of the song was focused on just music, like what is it, like a 3.5-3 minute song, and like 2 minutes of it doesn't have any lyrics in it at all. So I just thought they were trying to push more sort of instruments through to make it more based off of that.
I think it's a bit of an underused opportunity for the underfunding of the NHS, where they've only got like a minute and a bit of lyrics. They could have gone up hard on a different song using the same topic.
But I think that would have made that song sound like every other song.
It would have, but they could have. I'm just saying that song could have been better because it's just a bit slow.
So they could have just thrown something a bit more pointless in that to try and. I see what you mean. I see what you're saying.
I think it's an underused opportunity, but I'm glad they used the opportunity and not just sack it off. Ready to move on, lad?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right, Rachel Koo. It's Koo, isn't it?
Yeah, Rachel Koo. That's correct.
We've been proper ruffling off this song for a while now.
Yeah.
You were telling me she was a chef.
Yeah. So I was thinking that Rachel Koo was just kind of another Danny Nedelko sort of thing, just someone who was being used in a song to like make an actual. But apparently she's a famous chef. I don't know. Apparently this was because I had to look it up because I had no clue what was going on and no clue who Rachel Koo was. Apparently this was just a love song addressed to Rachel Koo.
I had a look about what the whole song's about.
Yeah,
Blatantly put, Joe spent a whole summer on drugs and watching cooking shows on TV. Oh, like that's so funny. Right, what a great topic. They've tackled the NHS, and now they're tackling cooking shows. Overall,
Cool.
the actual song though, they really go for these huge big choruses, and because it's so loud during the verse and they want all to go together, these big choruses do not have the impact they should. They've done it on every song so far. We're on song number 8, and they do it on every song with big verses, and then how are we gonna make this chorus impact?
See,
Make it louder.
I gotta disagree again here, because like I think they were actually going for making the chorus a bit more of like a sort of lighter, sort of fluffier thing. That's why they had the harmonies in it. No,
I know, but like if I was to listen to this album like front to back and then front to back again,
yeah,
I would think of that on all the songs now, because I'm just getting tired of big verses. Like, wow, if in comparison to other genres of these verses, this verse is loud.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you go into the chorus, like, wow, that chorus is really loud. And
so
they do that all the time on every song, and it has lost its impact. They have these crashes. They literally have crash cymbals going on in verses, like constant crashes, like ride cymbals. You save that for the chorus, lads. All they do is that they like whack on an overdrive pedal, and they think it's going to have the same impact it would.
Do you think they've gone overboard in the verse, so they've got nothing left for the chorus, and that's why the chorus is just a bit...
One of the main things you've got to know when writing music: don't make the chorus louder, make the verse quieter.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do that with punk, you know, and like heavy rock, but it really is hard. But it's a problem. I mean, I've heard it so much. It got to this point, and now I'm thinking, is this meant to be listened to as an album? Or am I meant to just pick and choose songs here and there? Because I am tired at the minute. I'm tired of the same formula. It's punk, it's the same formula, I know, but I'm allowed to be tired about it. It's getting repetitive. There's no big choruses to pick up my attention anymore. I mean, there are big choruses, obviously, but they just don't get my attention because I'm listening to it as an album. But one thing on the song, I'm glad the guitars are getting the love they deserve, finally. Big guitars.
I'll agree with you on the sense that, like, listening to this as an album, you know, song after song after song, especially when there are so many similar trends in them, yeah, it could definitely be a drag. I don't think, maybe there's a possibility that they weren't even thinking about the album structure in this one, and they just wanted to release an album.
Possibly.
I mean, not the best thing to do, but you know what? They've tried to make the same song 12 times.
Don't expect me to think. I'm not expecting an acoustic ballad halfway through as like a bit of a cool down or anything, lads. But I am.
It's coming.
It is coming, but I am expecting I'm expecting variation at the minute. I am bored. I am bored. It's
let's cheer you up then.
Go on.
Stendhal syndrome.
It's a very heavy start, isn't it?
Fast, quick, heavy start.
It's, as always, I can only say it on every song. Great bass, brilliant drums. Every single song, they know what they're doing with them.
Without fail, every single time, there is no failure for the drums and bass ever.
This is it's a very much a mosh pit song.
Yes.
This has gone directly in my gym playlist. This is a motivational hot song. I think it's a great song. I really like it.
Just love listening to him shouting and ripping into sort of artists. But like, for the purpose of showing that you shouldn't rip into artists.
What is Stendhal syndrome? Do you know, mate?
I actually don't know. That is something that I did not check up upon. Should we have a little Google? Pull that up,
You have a little Google, and I'll read out one of my favourite lyrics on this. Ignorance is bliss, yeah. Well, I'm not pleased, because you spread your opinion like a wretched disease. I'm sure that's got something to do with what Stendhal syndrome actually is.
So Stendhal syndrome is basically when people look at inanimate objects and they could get like a rapid heartbeat or faint or hallucinate. So like seeing a painting that's so beautiful that you just lose your shit.
Ignorance.
I suppose it's it's all about appreciating art. This song and how people don't appreciate art, sort of thing.
Well, that goes on with the third verse. Did you see that photo what Billingham took? He needs to take a leaf out the screensaver book. That's it's talking about these images getting and especially all the hot air.
Well, what he's saying that like that's what someone who doesn't appreciate art would say. He's not saying these things himself. He's saying what they would say.
That's an excellent find, that young Shoney.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you actually have a look at some of these paintings that he sort of talks about throughout, one of them specifically.
There's one on the actual Brutalism artwork, isn't there?
I'll put it up and throw it in the video at this point. But where's the one about the selfie? Oh yeah, did you see that selfie that Francis Bacon took? Sorry, did you see that selfie? What Francis Bacon did? Don't look nothing like him. What a fucking div. Brilliant lyrics again. I'll throw the selfie in the video at this point. It is quite funny when you actually know the picture that he's on about. But yeah, another decent tune, isn't it? Just like, again, I mean, I suppose there was like just shorter, like more punchier verses throughout this one, but I suppose that was a bit of a difference in structure for once. But,
I mean, it's a short song. In punk, with a shorter song, you can really hit home with just how loud and how brutal they can be.
Yeah.
And it worked on this one. That was a good song. I like it. Ready to move on, lad? Exeter. It's a slow song.
That's where I thought when I first heard it as well.
It's because the verses are a bit slow, the intro's a bit quieter. It really helps with the choruses, and it goes back to what I was saying on the other song, saying that choruses don't have the impact. It's back. The chorus had the impact it should, and all they did was make the verses quieter, or the thing that comes before it quieter, and it really worked. They use the change in tempo really well. They use that to their advantage. You can also have a slower tempo in a verse and pick up the tempo in the chorus, and it does have an impact. Not as big as it does with just volume, but it does have that impact. But otherwise, there's not much else to say about the song. It's alright. The guitar's screeching on the chorus sounds good. It's got a bit of a... It's better than just hearing another power chord, that's for sure. What are your thoughts on this one, lad?
I mean, I had to make a few notes for this one, and I've literally just written, I bet you'll forget this. And I absolutely have.
It's a bit of a...
Oh, I just took the piss out of myself, basically saying, I bet you'll forget this. It's not something that I'm going to listen to again. The only part that I do remember about it is that everyone is in the bar for a bar fight. That, again, another just repetitive lyric that just keeps on going on and going on. He names about 16 people and says they're in the bar for the bar fight. But, I mean, yeah, just not a song that I'm going to listen to again. I think, again, it does have nice themes in it that he addresses. Like, I think he addresses sort of toxic masculinity and sort of, because he says...
well, it's meant to be about people in Exeter. They turn to violence because they get so bored.
Yeah.
And it's like that does make sense. But have you seen some of the names that he says are in the bar for a bar fight?
There's one like Gerard, isn't it? Like,
John Gerard. Who is John Gerard?
John Gerard, Stephen's brother.
But there's also apparently someone's called Shit Eyes. Shit Eyes in the bar for a bar fight. What else? Aoife, Cranky's in the bar for the bar fight. Bikers in the bar for the bar fight.
I think there was a Gareth in there somewhere, I swear.
There is a Gareth. There's a Pinny. There's
just everyone in a bar for a bar fight.
Everyone is in the bar for a bar fight purely because they want to fight. I think that's what he's getting at.
So basically, if you want to sort of meet us at any point, we'll be in Exeter. Sounds like a brilliant night out.
We'll be in a bar.
For the bar fight.
For the bar fight. Ready to move on? I was a bit bored of that song. I don't have much else to say. It's not the most interesting one.
Do you want to move on to another song that we're not going to have a lot to say about?
Benzocaine. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's correct. Spot on.
Brilliant. What is benzocaine?
Benzocaine is a compound that is mixed in with cocaine to sort of like thick it out, but it can have the same effects as cocaine, but kind of like make you worse in a way. That's kind of what I got from it. I could tell that I'm not really into my drug scene.
Yeah, good Christian boys.
All that I've wrote is that this man likes his cocaine to be pure.
Okay.
Doesn't want any benzocaine in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's at this point, we're nearing the end of the album.
Yeah.
It's,
Filler.
they have fallen victim to their own sound.
Mm-hmm.
They want it raw, they want loud, and they want meaningful lyrics, but we can only take it in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hack an whole album of the same sound in each song, and I know it sounds like a cop-out for explaining why I like songs, like, oh, they all sound the same. But they all follow the same formula. Maybe one or two, they change it up a little bit, but they all follow the same formula. Big bass and drums, guitar power chords, lyrics. And they really bank on the lyrics.
Quickly say something that's I think is very important at this point. There are actually any IDLES fans here. Please do stick around. We do get nicer eventually.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a very good point. Like the second album, I give a pretty high score to.
Yeah.
But like this song just sounds like a bit of a throwaway to me.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
The only thing that I would comment on is the fact that if he was on cocaine throughout this entire song, this entire album, some of the songs begin to sort of add up now. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it hasn't said much to me, this song at all. You're right in terms of falling victim to their own sound, but you're also right in the sense that it probably does sound like a bit of a cop-out. But at this point, it is just getting sort of tiring and a bit of a drag to finish this album.
If we were to, let's say we were fucking reviewing, I don't know, let's say Beethoven released an album or something like that, we would get a few years, like it would be a very impressive comeback album, but he has been dead a little bit. It's like we would say, I'm getting a bit tired of the old piano now, like because it's not our style. This isn't our style. We're gonna get tired of a new style relatively quick. We can only take it in moderation, but that is just us.
3 years.
Is that how long it's going to take us to get monetized? God.
No. That's how long our mate Beethoven's been in the drink for.
Thanks for checking that. That really helps.
Pull that up, Shoney.
Pull that up, shit. Right, white privilege. You ready?
Yeah.
Right.
One of the best opening lines to the song so far.
How many optimists does it take to change a light bulb?
And then he screams, "None!" The butler changes a light bulb.
It's
one of the first times that I just genuinely just completely wouldn't stop laughing listening to this music.
This is an absolutely brilliant song. I love it. The bass and drums. Yeah. I'll say this on every song if I have to. Brilliant. Love it. The lyrics just seem to hit different this time, like you said.
Yes.
They just seem to hit different. I don't know what he's done. I couldn't pick it out at the time. Maybe they're a bit louder, maybe they drive the song a bit more this time than the bass.
I think the comment that he makes about student loans is quite apt. The SLC wants him his student loan back. He'd happily oblige, but he's used it all on gag. I couldn't stop laughing throughout this entire song, and this is why, like, this is kind of what kept me going. Just a bit of humour throughout the albums.
Every now and then there is an absolute banger in each album that's just like, oh, now I want to keep listening. Like, we were slating the past 2 or 3 songs, and it's come back with this. What a bella. The lyrics just seem to finally take control of a song, which feels like what they've intended on all the songs. But this one really does take a hold and drives the song. It takes it with it. Instead of it just kind of like shouting over power chords, it sounds like the power chords are making music this time. And I really like it. I love this song. Do you?
Yeah, definitely. And I also like the part where they parody the Beatles.
Which part was that, lad?
When he goes, I danced with another. Oh, because she passed out on your stairs.
I love the chorus of swing better, swing better,
swing. Yeah.
This is an absolutely brilliant song. I love it. It's I can't say much. I do like it. We're moving on
to the karaoke song that finishes the album.
This sounds like my drunk uncle doing karaoke. This is a shit song, lads. This had potential to really change up my album, and not my album, my thoughts on the album. And it, like, wow, it started off quite strong, died out in the middle, but the ending was brilliant. But they fucked it. This goes to show Joe needs these loud ass guitars in the background, not to drown him out. Don't get it twisted. Not to drown him out, but to match his energy, because he can't do anything else. Yeah,
it's just it's a nice sweet song, isn't it? For once, which is a welcome change. You know what I mean? But it doesn't hit home, does it?
It's just a massive mismatch of styles.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they're trying different things. I'm really glad, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work, I'm afraid.
It proves that Joe might need 1 or 2 vocal lessons as well.
No. He should never get rid of that raw voice, because that is what makes IDLES so, like, just obviously raw, but, like, how do you say it? Like, it makes them unique, makes them quirky.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's good on a lot of songs. But if they do want to, if they do want to do a song like this, they're gonna have to mix it up a bit, surely.
I'm so glad they're trying different things, because I was bored for a while, but it just didn't hit. I'm afraid, boys. It just didn't do it for me.
One comment I will make is something that I have mentioned to you, I believe. When this song came on and I heard a piano, it made me realise that real music does still exist, and I haven't just been warped into a dimension of hell.
Like, yes, there are other instruments out there.
Oh, thank God! I thought this was just like I was in some sort of hell, where all that was left was this hardcore sort of punk vibe But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. This specific slow song to end off the album, and you know, if it did hit, then it would have been a really, really nice end to an okay-ish album.
White Privilege, which is a banger going into a nice slower, a different idea, could have been amazing, but it just didn't work. That's all we can say.
If it did, it might have even got an extra point on my rating for me. If it sort of flowed well into this end, but it just didn't for me.
So, overall, well, we're finished with the album, by the way. Now, overall, this album had all the parts of a amazing punk album, an amazing heavy rock album, but it falls short on a lot of areas. The guitars just they were so underused. It's embarrassing.
Production.
The production needed a little bit more polishing. I know that's not meant to be about it with punk, but if you want to,
well,
if you want popular songs,
say at this point that later on the production does get a lot better.
It's go on.
So I was just going to say, like, it can be done and it can still work for IDLES, but it just wasn't all there for this album.
It needed better production. It needed more clear singing, because you got drowned out in a lot of choruses. It needed cleaner tones, and it needed more variation by a mile. It feels like a nuke went off on this album. It's so loud, it's so angry and sarcastic and tongue-in-cheek. It could have been brilliant, but it's just not working on a lot of songs. There are a lot of duds here. What are your thoughts, Oz?
Yeah, I kind of, for the majority, I've got to echo what you say. It was very sort of systematic and formulaic for quite a lot of songs. They did try and mix it up, and I know I've just complained about it being systematic and formulaic, but a couple of times they did try to mix it up. Didn't work as well as it could have. I mean, like, I know that 1049 Gotho is one of the most popular songs. If I would have enjoyed it, because they did kind of mix it up a little bit with, you know, the guitar coming in that song. If I would have liked that, maybe it would have been a better album for me overall. Because I would have liked one of the songs where they mixed it up and had sort of, you know, wouldn't be saying it's just sort of one-dimensional, which is sort of like, so this is sort of like the Trent Alexander-Arnold of albums, just one-dimensional.
Don't even start, lad. I don't know if anyone to back me up this week. It's just like I am on my own.
Right.
I mean, it's not one-dimensional, but like we are talking. If anyone's listening to this in the future, Liverpool just lost 7-2 to Aston Villa away, and we've had better weekends, so I've been getting tired most of the week. But we go on. Out of 10, I'm giving this a decent to strong 4 out of 10.
Really?
It could have been. This album could have been brilliant, but it just wasn't clicking for me, and that is just my opinion.
It's for me. It's not a strong or a weak one. It's just an average, bang average, slap in the middle debut album. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's a 5.
5.
Yeah. Again, like I say, I've got to echo something I said earlier in the fact that I did enjoy it more than I expected. So that is one of the main, like, because I was expecting that I'd be giving this a 2 or a 3, but I did enjoy it. So, to an extent, let's say. But are we ready to move on to Joy as an act of resistance?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Right. Very first one. Opening track.
It's huge.
Colossus.
Oh no, it's Colossus.
It's humongous.
No.
Enormous.
Wrong artist. We've done
that was last week. Anyone who hasn't seen our Declan McKenna, if there are any IDLES and Declan McKenna fans out there, I'm sure there aren't. But if there are, go check it out. It's brilliant.
You get it. Won't go on for 3 hours like this one.
I've just got to say, this Colossus one. The Colossus is such a. It's a really a me song. This slow build up of like these menacing guitars, slow lyrics, this a huge build-up of sound is brilliant. For the whole time, this has gone straight in the gym playlist. That the whole goes and it goes and it goes is, I love that.
That is the main thing for me. The way that it kind of ramps up slowly through the song, goes and it goes and it goes, goes and it goes and it goes, and it literally, like, I think I was kind of like tapping along to it. It must go up by about 100 BPM at least, like throughout the song.
And when he just shouts, "It's coming!" and it's like washing over you with all these different sounds. It's amazing.
This is what we meant before when we were talking about production value as well.
This is nearly like a 10 out of 10 song for me. This is such a vibe for me. This is why I love Foals, why I love Queens of the Stone Age. Stuff like these big, slow, menacing, thick build-ups going into these huge choruses. It works. They've quieted down the verse and they've made the chorus louder. Thank you.
I mean,
they've listened to me, mate.
I mean, have you had a word with them, have you?
I had to have a word with them, yeah. I told them, what the fuck do you think you're doing with that first album? Negative review.
I mean, like, it's just
Don't.
that... I mean, the whole song is literally a build-up.
Yeah.
It's mad.
And then it's just silence for a few seconds.
It just cuts out completely, doesn't it? And it's just like this big build-up's been coming, it's coming, and it just goes, that's it, done.
And then it goes back to a song that could have been on the first album easily. But I can now hear bass drums and guitar. I can hear them. The production is much better. It's cleaner, better tones. Talks about Stone Cold Steve Austin. I put homophobes in coffins. What a brilliant lyric. It sounds like they're back on their bullshit, but they're not. They're a new band. I love this song.
It is like a hell of a start to this album compared to what, like, I think even like the most popular songs in, like, what do you like most in the last album, Mother?
Mother, or probably White Privilege. They're about evens.
So, like, we've got Mother, White Privilege, and Well Done. They're the best songs in the last album. I think this one already blows them out of the water. Yeah, I agree. And when I heard that, because obviously in the weird way I listened to it, the second album was the last album I listened to, and this just really got me up for a good start.
Yeah, I am so excited. It's a fucking amazing song. And then it goes into Never Fight a Man with a Perm, which was one of the songs I knew before coming into this. I love the song. It's brilliant. It contains one of my favourite parts in any music ever.
What's that?
The going into the second verse, after the chorus, where it's just like the drums going, but no snare, and it's just like the bass drum and then the bass kicking off, and then it goes, "A heathen from Eton," and the snare,
Michael Keaton.
And the snare comes in and the riff comes back in, and it all just kind of like hits at the right time. It's one of my favourite parts in music ever. Brilliant. Ever. It's one of. But I think that's just brilliant songwriting. The way they've taken different parts out of different instruments. They've sacked off the cymbals, they've sacked off the snare from the drums.
Yeah.
They quieted the bass down. They've completely got rid of the but riff. Brilliant song. The guitar riff is great. The bass sounds so loose. It sounds, as a bassist, you're not getting. This is like blasphemy, but it sounds twangy. It's really good. The drums are so fucking loud as well. What are your thoughts, lad?
You know what? I know.
I think I've sucked off this song enough now.
I mean, you have, but it is kind of worth it, because you know what? One thing, like, it all just seemed like everything was together in unison yet again. And even the lyrics, like in the last album, the lyrics sort of made the difference in terms of sort of keeping the song interesting. But here, like, the lyrics from a rhythmic standpoint were really good. So like it kind of everything, like Brill Cream, Creatine, and a bag of Charlie Sheen. You know, like,
I'm not happy he takes down like meatheads in the gym. It's like, but it's very insulting. But one of the favourite lyrics, me of my own,
Mr.
You look like a walking thyroid.
You look like a walking. That's such a good line.
It's absolutely brilliant. What else? Wait, you're not a man. You're a gland. Your one big neck with sausage hands. I've been listening to the song for years, and it still gets me every time. I love this song.
I mean, if anyone doesn't know, Mr. Indie Memes is a massive meathead in the gym.
I am massive. I'm not quite meathead level yet.
And he does have a perm.
I do not have a perm. I do not have a perm.
I liked the chorus. I know you just concrete to leather, but you know what I mean. Just like that, the guitars just work really well in the chorus as well. I know that's just one thing we haven't mentioned yet, so I just
the drums in the chorus as well is really good.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
It's at the minute all the different instruments that, like I talked about cheese on toast, they're not melting, they're moulding, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
You ready about the next one?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, I think we do need to speed this up, or we're taking way too fucking long sucking off these first two songs. Right, I'm Scum.
No, you're not.
Thanks. The bass is nice and easy to pick out.
Yeah.
They've done. I've wrote here. They've done exactly what I've told them. They have been listening. Joe's lyrics seem to match with the music so much better. They blend. It's just so much better. I can't really put my finger on it. It's a decent little song. It's not quite as loud as the others, but it is really good.
No, definitely not as loud. The one thing that I will pick out from this one is that remember how we liked the guitar in 1049 Gotho? It kind of had like the same vibe of using the guitar to break up sort of the verses with the hey. So I thought again, they took what they did well on the first album in places, and they've evolved it, and they've made I think this is a decent song. It's not my favourite song.
They are improving on just about everything here. Yeah, it's a decent little song in my eyes. It's working well. I wouldn't have found it on the first album, but it is it's an alright little song.
They've took another one of the things that I love, and they've done harmonies in the chorus as well. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, they needed to do that more. It really brings out the lyrics instead of it just like falling behind all the other instruments.
Can I just say that I had another piss myself laughing moment here when he called James Bond a murderous toff.
Forgot about that. Brilliant. Ready to move on, lad?
Our mate Daniel.
Danny Nedelko.
Coming back from the Declan McKenna album.
He's
been an astronaut, and now he's Daniel Nedelko.
Now he's a butcher. Polish butcher. He's
No, that's Mo Farah.
Right. Yeah, sorry, that's Mo Farah. Right. For anyone that doesn't know the song, you might just think we just lost our minds there. No, go look at the lyrics.
These are the lyrics.
These are the lyrics, I promise. This is like a certified banger. When it got released, it was all on the radio everywhere. I'm sure you've heard it. It's a great little song. Talks about immigrants, how we should be happy to have immigrants in our country. Obviously we are. It hits home. It's still tongue in cheek. It's still got that charm about it. It's really good. I love it.
Just like this is where I think again even the lyrics have evolved, because from the first album you would have him saying something a very serious message, but it'd have to be put in a serious way. In this album, he's literally talking about Freddie Mercury being a Nigerian mother of 3, and he's like he's made it into an actual serious song. It's tongue in cheek, it's funny, but it also has a good message. So I think that worked well. The only thing that I kind of had a bit of it wasn't a gripe because I thought it worked well, which is, but it's something that I'd usually hate. You know, in the verse, just chaotic guitars in the background.
What? Fear leads to...
No. Before Fear Leads to Panic, I'm on about in the verse. If you listen to
in the verse, sorry, mate.
You know, while he's singing, my grandfather is an immigrant, abuse. There's chaotic guitars in the background. And in the chorus, it actually goes back to being clean again. And I just kind of... That confused me a bit, but it worked well enough. And
I think they need...
Banger.
I don't think this would have been as radio friendly if it was just like bass and drums in the verse. And and this one is quite radio friendly. It was all over the radio. Yeah. This song is probably the one that was going to go off the most in a mosh pit. When they get in with a that was brilliant. Like
yeah, we both watched.
It's an excellent song. I'm loving it.
That Glastonbury video, like I mean, this was like the second time I'd heard Danny Nedelko watching the Glastonbury video, because I actually hadn't heard it on the radio before, but it actually like sent shivers up my spine just like watching everyone. They were just like moshing to it and just loving it.
Never Fight a Man with a Perm, I think, is the one at Glastonbury is much better because he just stomps on the stage for about a minute. Like, these boots are made stomping, and that's just what I'll do. And he just fucking stomps on the stage while he's doing it.
I'll have to watch
brilliant.
That at some point.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Ready for the next one? First of all, do you want a bit of Danny Nedelko history?
Go on. Get some lore in here.
Yeah, I might as well throw some lore in. So, Danny Nedelko was employed by Adam Devonshire at a bar. He was an immigrant, and it was just a story about his immigration and how he was sort of integrated and accepted into the culture. Can I just say about my favourite part of this song? Mm-hmm. The D, the A, the N, the N, the Y.
Everyone's favourite part.
The Danny Nedelko community. So fuck you. Just and you,
yeah.
and you,
and you, and you.
And he just starts, when he's doing it live, he just starts pointing at people. You,
yeah,
you.
Everything's taken a step up so far in this. Yeah. It's a much better album already. You ready to move on?
Yep.
Right, this song, love song. It's all right. I'm getting a little bit like early Queens of the Stone Age vibes of the bass and drums, just like loud, twangy. You're very aware that they're there, and it's going to be there for the rest of the song. Nice and loud. Apart from that, I don't really vibe with the chorus all that much.
Yeah, pretty bang average song, I'd have to say.
I don't know what the fuck I was talking about here, but I gotta trust old Stan. He seems to know what he's talking about. I wrote... The chorus sounds a bit like an Oompa Loompa song.
Oh, I know what you're saying, because after he sings this modern love, it goes la 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 la. So, yeah, I can, yeah.
Right. It's probably the weakest song yet, in my opinion. It's not as class as the previous. The lyrics seem just a little bit detached from the music.
Yeah, it's just it goes back again to, I think this was another song where the verses were heavier than the chorus again. But it was just the lyrics. It just didn't feel conjoined, did it? It felt disjointed. That's the right word.
Yeah. As to a quote, my flatmate, I'm just not vibing, mate.
Is that about this song?
What? Yeah, I just wasn't vibing with the song, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I just think overall the verses were a bit just all over the place. Um, Look at this card I wrote. It says I love you.
That's it. That's a good lyric. That's a good lyric, actually.
That's the best lyric in the song because that's what
It
stuck out
says,
to me.
it says, I love you. I love you. Let's talk about consumerism, I presume.
Yeah, it will be.
Or something like that.
Just overall, I just didn't feel like even that lyric, it didn't flow with the music too well.
Mm. Yeah, it's just not together. You ready to move on, lad?
June.
Right. June. It's a nice little chill at the start. I needed a little bit of a chill out at this point. I've had some great songs so far. Need like just a little bit of a step down.
This is a song that I kind of just want to point out here that it's worth talking about first without the context, just from a musical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll talk about it with context afterwards. Just want to allude to that quickly. So go on, carry on. What were you saying about the song and overall?
It's the actual song. I presume you're going to talk about the lyrics, right?
I will talk about that afterwards. Just talk about the music for now.
The music at the minute. This song sounds like a build up to something far more interesting, but it actually never comes. It's just. Ugh. It could have been. It's not that. It's difficult to say. I'm a bit disappointed. I was expecting something big.
Completely agreeing with you that I just don't think I felt like there was a build up coming to something, and when it just comes to the baby shoes never worn for sale, it just didn't kind of do anything for me. I think the start of it, I thought it had like a sort of like ominous sort of feel to it, like with the organ. And I felt like throughout the song, it felt like it was going to build to something. If they didn't create that feeling, then maybe I wouldn't have been as disappointed at the end.
Mm.
But obviously, the context of this song, it makes sense why there wasn't like a big drop at the end. This is obviously a song about him losing his daughter during childbirth. So obviously, it was a song written from a point of an emotional standpoint, like a very passionate song. He takes the quote from I think it's believed to be attributed to Hemingway, for sale, baby shoes never worn. And I was telling you, the first time I saw that quote was actually on a Vsauce video. But yeah, those 6 words, for sale, baby shoes never worn, they just insinuate so much more of a feeling, and that's he's obviously really felt something with those lyrics, and that's why he's put it in the song.
I guarantee the lyrics came before the actual music on the song. I put my house on it. 100%. I put my house on it. It's a very deep song. So he's gone from tackling meatheads to tackling like probably the most distressing time of his life.
Yeah, horrific personal tragedy.
This album is brilliant so far, and it's tackling so many different things. It's good. It is good. This album so far, lad. I'm enjoying myself. It is.
I compare. I mean, now even just thinking back through the songs, I actually think, this is what they could have achieved with the first album, and I'm thinking, why did I give it a 5? Because this is so, it's on a level above, really is. Samaritans.
I like this song. It's got a lovely little intro going into it. Good drum beat.
Yes.
Good drum beat. It's a real head nodder, It's one to go on a walk to.
Go on a walk.
You know what I mean? Like, what is it? If anyone here's on Spotify, they've got like their own playlist called like "Walk Like a Badass." It's got all these heavy slow tunes, and it's brilliant. The whole thing really good. The minor chords that are getting played make the song sound so menacing. I love it.
Yeah.
The ending part's brilliant. It's a really good song. I'm enjoying it. I love
the main thing about this was the verses. You know, the man up, sit down, chin up, pipe down. Just like the constant punchiness of the lyrics. Just like I can see what you mean about being like, it's just like a really like bouncy song, isn't it? It just keeps
it sounds and it sounds like something your dad would shout at you for being like if they caught you crying or something.
Well, yeah. So it's about toxic
chin up, pipe
masculinity,
down,
isn't it? And literally, it says in the song, "This is why you never see your father cry." So,
the mask of masculinity is a mask that's wearing me. So you're getting taken over by toxic masculinity. Brilliant lyrics again. What a song.
And then there's just like a sort. You think the song? I thought the song was coming to the end, and it sort of started to go a bit quieter. And then he just screams, "I kissed a boy and I liked it."
Great.
Again, I just started laughing because it's such a good, like, it just screams that, and I just thought that really made the song. I mean, overall, I think this was up there kind of with one of my favourite songs on the album.
Ready to move on, lad?
I am ready for a bit of television.
Right, television. In fact, I'm now convinced the singing on all the songs sounds so much better here. Like, in comparison, something's happened. Like, Joe sounds brilliant here.
Mm-hmm.
In the choruses, it sounds like they're all harmonising. I couldn't tell whether they actually were, but it pays off brilliantly.
Yeah.
My only problem is the singing is getting drowned out by the music a little bit, like it was on the first album. Was one of my very big pet peeves of that.
Did you know specifically where you're talking about that happening? Are you on about the verse or the chorus?
I'd imagine it'd be the verse, because the chorus, it sounds like they're harmonising, so it would have been nice and loud. I mean, they might have done the whole harmonising before and I just haven't noticed, like on Danny Nedelko, with the whole yada 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 yada. But I'm really noticing now how really good Joe's singing is.
Yeah, like this is, especially from the first album, because listening to the first album, I didn't like his voice at all. I've mentioned this to you. I thought this is going to drag me down because I do not like his voice.
It's very raspy, isn't it?
Yeah. I go outside and I feel free, because I smash mirrors and fuck TV. He does sing it really well.
Yeah.
The only kind of gripe that I did about this song is it was just for what I've seen of like IDLES so far. I kind of like the way that they've mixed up the structure all the time. But this was just kind of simply verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus. You know what I mean? Like just like proper standard. But you know, I literally read. I put down. It's not like them to have a structure.
Yes, how dare they have it? It's a decent little song. It's a nice little safe little song.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bridge, I think. Ready to move on, lad?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great. Right,
which is
brilliant.
The next song.
Just gonna get this out of the way. Brilliant chorus. It's a proper sing along, isn't it? In my eyes, anyway.
Oof. Didn't rate the chorus.
Did you not?
I don't know why. I just think we've had the spelling already in this album.
Yeah, but you can imagine everybody's spelling along in the crowd. It's a proper sing-along.
Yeah, I can imagine everyone singing along because everyone is so simple.
Yeah.
GREAT, that's great.
I constantly mess up the final lyrics on Danny Nedelko. I've yet been able to smell Community.
Yeah, Community's fine. You know what I always forget?
So.
Yeah. Every single time I go the F and I've thought, oh no, it's the S. It's so annoying. But back to great. I thought this song, I thought it was again kind of flashbacks to the first album. I thought it was carried by the bass.
Really?
Yeah.
Lad, I literally said the choruses on this album are 100 times better than they were on Brutalism.
I mean in the verse specifically,
Oh.
it was carried by the bass. So,
Well, yeah, it does get a bit carried by the bass. You can't expect him to write hilarious, tongue-in-cheek, meaningful lyrics on every single verse. It's just not ideal.
No, of course.
It's
But they do on
it's
the
gonna be a
pre-chorus
few.
because there's a brilliant lyric in that. Islam didn't eat your hamster. What a great lyric.
Islam didn't eat your hamster.
And I've got to say, this is they don't. There are a couple of pre-choruses, but pre-chorus isn't something that idols always go with. I thought it worked well to build into the chorus on this one, even though I didn't actually like the chorus as much. So I actually said that this and sort of television were on a similar level for me. They're just sort of decent little songs. They're not like my favourites. I wouldn't class them as really good songs that I'm going to look out to listen to in the future.
Yeah, if I was scrolling through my massive arse playlist and this one came up, it'd have probably been like, I've probably got a better song coming up. Yeah. But I did love, calls out High School Musical, because we're all in this together, in the outro.
I never even clocked that.
And he's done Katy Perry, he's done the Beatles, he's taken down Troy. Oh, it's brilliant. Right, ready to move on, lad.
Glam rock.
Play on words with glam rock.
Yep.
I'm just reading my notes. I've literally wrote, I have no idea what this song is about, to be honest.
Right here, right, come. So...
Help.
I looked up a few interviews for this one. I had to do a bit of digging. So, apparently, this is about, I think, two bankers turn up to a funeral. Sounds like a joke.
Right.
They one of them's, obviously, his granddad's just passed away. And they do a load of cocaine. That's it.
Brilliant.
I love the drums at the start. It comes straight into it, and it goes, I'm sorry that your granddad's dead. Lovely spread. It's just like proper funeral talk.
Look. I didn't even notice that. What a brilliant lyric. I'm sorry your granddad's dead. Lovely spread. Alright, I need to get it together. The guitars sound so crisp and tight. The production's class on this song. The screeching guitar at the end is fucking loud. It's angry. I love it.
Yeah,
they've taken
very heavy, very big, and it's perfect for this song, especially with like the context of screaming, "I scored a win, bada bada bing."
But where the fuck are these 10 points to Gryffindor coming from?
Oh, right. So I think this is just like literally. I'm gonna read my notes word for word here.
Right, go on.
What the fuck is going on? Is he on cocaine? Yeah. 10 points to Gryffindor. I'm playing my FIFA trial, going, what the fuck, laughing at a man screaming about Harry Potter.
No, but did you see the outro, lad?
No.
He wrote this, my boy fucked Tom Hiddleston's stylist.
Yeah. I don't even know who Tom Hiddleston is.
Oh, I think he's an actor.
Is he?
I think so. There's loads of Toms. I imagine so. It's
not Tom Huddleston.
It's I've no idea why he's talking about fucking Gryffindor at a funeral. 10 points to Gryffindor.
It was just like this song. It's just another one that just had me rolling on the floor throughout the whole song.
I can imagine all the IDLES fans now like, yeah, we've heard the song loads of times. Stop laughing now. We're like, no, this is fucking hilarious. Like, I'm so
there's no
so
way
happy I found this
listen
song.
To this song for the first time and not laugh at any point.
It's a good. I just need to focus, man. It's a good little song overall. I
think the funniest part about it though is where he goes like, lovely spread. He says for so long. Oh.
Right.
We'll move on to a heavy, monotonous song now. Cry to Me.
Cry to Me. This is such a dud. I don't like this song.
I mean, heavy and monotonous was the words that I use because everything is pretty monotone in it. Even the singing's pretty monotone.
I think they're a tad bit out of ideas at the minute. It's a bit. I've heard it all before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the only thing I would say about it is that it was very, very good foreshadowing by Joe, because he was picturing us all crying alone in our rooms, and that's what the last few months has came to for a lot of us, especially me.
Buddy, you can talk to me, man.
I just thought, again, it was another song where I thought a bit bland, plain, and again, it was just all over the place in the end when it came to the chorus of shouting "Cry to Me."
I've noticed depressing lyrics are not Idle's strong point. June was brilliant, but that's because that's for a whole different reason of depression. If he's just talking about like
his feelings, like he was talking about, it was so deep and personal.
If he's just talking about like depressing shit in general, it's not good for Idles, in my opinion. I don't think it's.
It didn't feel as personal, did it?
No. Oh, it probably wasn't. I know it probably was. What am I on about? Right. Final album. He calls out Toy Story. I was a bit pissed off.
Wait, did he call out Toy Story?
The first lyric is "There's a snake in my a snake in my boots."
Okay, I've missed that.
I mean, it's not proper calling out, but like, and then he just shouts fucking Rottweiler about 20 times.
Rottweiler. You know what? I think they've kind of learnt from the first album that maybe don't have the heavy song last, have a belter last, and they have it, because it's so strong and heavy until it kicks in.
If this song matches the title of the song perfectly, it's so angry and dangerous. It's a perfect final. I've got to talk about the final lyrics. Just get that out of the way very quickly.
Yeah, do we do that at the end? Because I think that's
yeah. Go on.
Yeah,
go on. What do you want?
The main part for now, because I prefer to end it on a high note, because I personally thought that the main part of the song was quite repetitive.
It got a little bit repetitive. It didn't make it into my gym playlist, which I was convinced it was, but there just wasn't enough variation in the lyrics.
Yeah.
Or
even in the music, it was just a very repetitive guitar sort of riff.
I mean, Joe shouting the same thing over and over again isn't something we haven't seen before, and it's worked perfectly well on other songs. It just, maybe not just one word, maybe you need a line, maybe you need a bit of a longer song. Oh no, it's 5 odd minutes, what am I on about?
Well, I said for some reason it is repetitive, but I still kind of like it, but it needs something more to it, and I didn't know what was coming at this point. And then there was a huge, let's call it an instrumental, shall we?
It's like a breakdown, mate. Going into the trying to like just crash everything out. It sounded like the end of a jam session, but like they're all on a lot of drugs, and it sounded great. I have to go on.
I said John must be absolutely done in.
John looks like, they all look like, you ever seen them live? Maybe not now, but like especially at Glastonbury. I saw an amazing comment on YouTube that said they all look like mental patients, and John looks like their carer.
Yeah, John does not belong, does he?
No.
I was watching him. I was watching an interview with him, and I thought, that can't be the drummer for this.
He's too normal. But to end off this album, I have to talk about the final few lyrics here sum up the whole album brilliantly. Right. Fuck 'em, go, smash it, ruin it, destroy the world, burn your house down, and then just, unity, and that's how it ends. It's brilliant. It's just, if I had to sum up this album, it sounded like somebody gave a feminist a flamethrower.
That is the most apt metaphor I've heard.
It's it really does. It's sounds like they're just giving them free reign of the world, and just like, yeah, do what you want, but they're still keeping to their like political views. Overall,
this song specifically, Rottweiler, it could not have gone anywhere else in the album. It's just like the perfect massive ending that they needed to this, because yeah, it was just stunning, to be honest, because this is the type of shit I usually hate, but they've made me love it with this album. Yeah. I do have one gripe with it though, with Joe specifically, and if
go on,
Joe, I know you're listening. Don't that they've been playing really heavily for about 2 minutes, and then you shout "keep going" at them. You've been standing around doing nothing, mate.
Have you seen Joe live?
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah, but in the studio,
he's sweating like a pig.
Yeah.
He looks absolutely knackered.
Maybe he's wanted a break there.
Yeah, and he's one of the frontmen, probably one of the best frontmen in recent memory that works a stage so well. Dave Grohl works a stage amazingly, and he's got a guitar. Joe works it brilliantly. Who else works a stage really well? Throwback Freddie Mercury worked it brilliantly.
Of course.
But overall, they've improved on literally everything here. Everything sounds tight, fast. It's better produced. It's nicer to listen to for, I mean, what we are, casuals. We are casuals. It's
absolutely 100%.
Literally everything. Just a few here and there. It kind of ran out of ideas in a few songs. There are a few duds here and there, but definitely not everywhere. First half of the album was stellar. They've got just one or two problems on the guitars, still sounding messy, and sometimes, like you said, in Danny Nedelko, they can sound a little bit.
I don't think that's
messy.
Necessarily a bad thing in Danny Nedelko. I think quite a lot of people wouldn't even notice it, because it is very much in the background in the verses, but it just kind of, when I heard it for the first time, it's just like screeching guitars constantly in the background, and I thought it's just a bit chaotic, but maybe that's sort of what made the song. So I'd like to hear it without it as well, just because I think it probably did make a difference.
Yeah, there's just a few. I am being quite nitpicky here, but there are a few duds. The guitars needed a little bit of work, maybe, but I think if you polish it too much, it could easily lose the charm of how raw some of the songs are. A few ideas didn't pan out, like on "Cry to Me." That's not a good song, but otherwise, this is a brilliant album. Feminists with a Flamethrower, mate. I'm telling you, that's the title of this episode. Feminists with a Flamethrower, 100%. Go on.
We'll make that happen. But the main thing for this now, can you give me a number?
I'm going to keep with my like light, decent and strong. So it's kind of like giving it out of 30 deep down. But like purely because I like to be like quite nitpicky with a few things. I'm going to give it a light to decent 8 out of 10.
Wow. I wasn't expecting you to go that high.
This album is truly brilliant. It's there are so many ideas that worked out so well. It's easy to listen to for the casual, definitely. It is seriously a brilliant album. There are a few ideas that didn't pan out, a few problems here and there. Guitars, they needed a little bit of work, but otherwise, brilliant album.
Well,
go on, lad. Give me that number.
You're going to have to pass the number over to me. And I'm really... this is one that I've struggled with because I've been torn between whether I really, really like it or there are a few songs that drag it down for me.
They were for me.
Yeah, but you still gave it an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I had songs throughout, you know, I didn't like Love Song, Television wasn't my favourite, Great wasn't my favourite, Cry to Me, like even Rottweiler, the main part of it. And I think if we're going off one of your scales, I'm going to go for a middling 7.
So a decent 7.
A decent 7.
That's not too far off me, you know.
No.
It's certainly like a point, just under a whole point.
It kind of made me realise though how sort of improved it is off the first album. You know,
yeah.
That really, I mean, even if I go back now, I could even give that a 4 now, because just seeing the improvement just shows how much they've really done.
And to be fair, talking about it with you, and like you're pointing out different lyrics, you're pointing out different things, and like, oh shit, yeah, that song actually did bang, and I forgot about it. Yeah, I think I'm quite good at you're quite good at persuading me on a few different songs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And figuring out whether it's a banger or not.
You kind of won me over on Colossus, because really beforehand I only thought that the main part I liked was Goes and It Goes and It Goes, but I thought that was the only thing that was kind of carrying the song. But you've managed to win me over on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, like it's the first thing I put on when I'm like doing like boxing bag stuff, and it just like as I'm getting warmer, it keeps getting louder and louder. Oh, it's just a brilliant song. I love it. It's I love it. I'll be ready to move on.
So this is what the video is for. We are here now to talk about the brand new album released this month or last month, the end of last month.
Oh God!
Go on, give me a day.
Holy shit! We're in October. What the fuck?
We're in October.
Jesus, man.
I think it's the end of last month. Yeah.
Released 25th of September 2020.
25th, yes, what a guess that was. Ultra Mono, brand new album, and this is what we're here to talk about, this is what we're here to review.
This is why we think it was a good idea. It's nice and relevant. Hopefully some of you guys like it. Do you want to just get straight into it, lad?
Did you just say something, sorry?
Shall we just get straight into it? Yeah.
Right. I'm having a little bit of laggy issues. Right. I'll go now. War. Are we ready? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Right. Starting off on Ultra Mono. Opening up with something nice and heavy. Now, everything seems to sound a little bit more polished. So, just like from the first listen. And this album can now go one of two ways. It can stay a little bit nice and polished and improve on the guitars, like I mentioned from the last album. Or it can go in the direction of, any Arctic Monkeys fans will know, AM. Like, they recorded all the parts separate and it got produced to death and everything sounded so perfect and it lost its charm. I really hope this isn't going to happen here. It sounds heavier, it sounds faster, it's louder than anything before. I mean, the song's literally called War. I do like the song. I'm excited for what's up next, but I'm just a bit wary. I hope they don't polish it too much. What are your thoughts, lad?
I felt as though this just, like, I can only echo what you've said in terms of, literally the last thing I wrote actually about this song was that you can tell that the production has gone up, and I didn't really think of it as a potential negative at the time, but now you kind of bring it up. It could have gone one or two ways, but I personally only saw it as a positive, and going forward we'll see how that ended up. But for this song, I've got to say, I love the start of this song. It's just like really heavy, solid bass line and drums as per the usual. And then he just comes in making the sound of weapons.
Yeah.
But my favourite part of this song has to be by far is so he keeps on doing these phrases where he goes, for example, the first one is watching, that's the sound of the sword going in. And then after the fourth one, he goes, so the fourth one is shh, 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 shh. That's the sound of the children, Tucker. And then after that, he just goes, ah, 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 ah. And just goes into the chorus.
I love the chorus. Like, it's just so contradictory. This means war, anti-war. War! This means war, anti-war.
You know what? When you
anti-war.
said that to me, I tried to work out what he was actually saying. So
I
does
have
he
no
mean
fucking clue.
that he's starting an anti-war war?
This is an anti-war war.
Yes,
this means war.
It's an anti-war war.
I know, but then he says, this means war, anti-war, anti-war. So is he like anti-war, anti-war?
Oh,
is he
no,
anti-war? Oof.
Oh, God.
Right, we're getting deeper.
I'm lost here.
It's fucking flipped, lad. Right, sack it off. Next song, War, decent. Grounds. What are your thoughts, lad?
The synthy noise at the start of this into that no is just perfect. I love this song.
It's nice and smooth, isn't it? It's real nice and smooth. It's still heavy, it's still raw, but it's there's not a lot of moulding of the different instruments anymore. They've lost it. Like, the first album they melted and it was poor.
Mm-hmm.
Second album they melted and moulded at the same time. Like, the guitars came together when they needed to and it really drove it.
Yeah.
But you could pick them out. And this time all instruments sound very separate to one another, and that's not punk. It can be, but it's definitely a new sound for them. Everything sounds a bit disconjointed, but it still makes a great song.
So what style would you say that this is in, if that you could give a name to it?
Oh, no, don't get me wrong, this is still punk. This is still punk, they're just trying out a different idea. First album, or in a chorus, all of them would play a C. All of them would play a C, and it's just root note for the whole chorus. Second album, maybe the two guitars played a C and there was a bass line, or there was a riff going on, and the bass and the rhythm guitar joined together at playing a D. This time, you got a bass line going, you got a riff going, and then you got chords going. It's three different things. Now, I love that in most songs. I really do. But this is very different to what they've been doing. I like it, but it's different. Go on, mate.
I liked how raw it was when he was, when he was just singing on his own. So it was like, just when he was saying, like, you will not catch me staring at the sun. It was only drums sort of playing with him, and then that really heavy sort of guitar sort of break up riff sort of comes in, like, down. And I've said this a few times about like guitar riffs that they use to break up the song. This was by far my favourite use of it, and I think this is probably my favourite song.
But what, by IDLES?
Yep, by IDLES.
Oof,
really is. I think
I'm not entirely sure what my favourite song is. Possibly Colossus. Possibly Never Fight a Man with a Perm, or possibly White Privilege. It's one of them. I might decide at the end. Okay. But overall,
what will we be looking forward to that?
This is a very head-nodding song. I like it. This album's starting off nice and strong at the minute, innit?
Yeah, very, very strong. I'm very happy with it up to now.
Right. Mr. Motivator, then?
Yep.
Now, for all of you young'uns out there that don't know who Mr. Motivator is...
That's me.
I mean, to be fair, like, I don't know, Mr. Motivators. I'm swear he's on in like the late 80s, early 90s or something like that. That could genuinely be 20 decades or 2 decades out. But he used to like, have you ever seen This Morning with Holly and Phil? Yeah, that's This Morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just he'd just come on and do like virtual Zumba classes out of nowhere. It'd have been like that. It's so I really don't know what entirely this means. Okay, so for Mr. Motivator, the vocals are very much a focal point of this song.
Yeah.
He talks about Delia Smith, another cook. What's his beef with cooks, man? He chats shit about Conor McGregor with a samurai sword on rollerblades. That's what the fuck. That's a great little lyric.
I thought like when this song opened with that really sort of heavy repetitive guitar, I was enjoying it, and then the bass kicks in for the verse and it kind of tones down a bit, and I was writing, like, he kept on singing all these sort of similes, and I was like, bloody hell, I love these similes. I wrote that down.
They are great.
And then he goes, and then after Delia Smith baking me a cookie, he goes, "How'd you like them cliches?" I was like, I literally just told you, I love them.
Like Delia Smith after 10 Chardonnays making me a nice cookie. I do have to say on this song, I don't know whether it's because I've been listening to an unholy amount of IDLES recently.
Yeah.
But I kind of have heard all of this before. Yeah, I haven't heard too many new ideas. I know we're only 3 songs in. A hell of a lot could happen.
Like I can get on board with that. Even though I did like the chorus. The "Let's Seize the Day" part. But I can kind of see where you're coming from in the sense that it could just fit into any other song.
Mm-hmm.
Can we all talk about the best part about this song?
Go for it, lad.
The build up at the end of him shouting, "Your joke, how fucking zaggy."
Wait, where? Oh my god, yeah.
Your joke, how fucking zaggy. How would you not remember that? That was so good.
Is it Joe Calzani or is it Joe Calzone? Or something like that? Wasn't he a baseball player?
Joe Calzaghe, the boxer.
Oh, I'm thinking of the baseball player. Ignore me, mate.
Oh.
I just like, have they spelled this wrong or something? Like, yeah, okay. It's all about the confidence. Yeah, it's a good little song. They found a new bass tone that they seem to be abusing. The bass does sound very clear, different from the other songs, and it's been the same so far. But the vocals are brilliant. They're really crisp so far. I'm liking it. I am liking it. I'm liking this album so far. It's alright. Not as much as I was liking the first one so far, but it's good. Anxiety. They found a way to hit hard with the chorus again, haven't they?
They've what? Sorry.
They found a way to hit hard with the chorus again.
Yeah.
They're not. It's exactly what I said in the first album. If anybody remembers, they're not making the chorus sound louder, but they're making the verse quieter. They make the verse sound a little bit basic, less instruments, not a lot going on, but it pays off on these brilliant, big, loud choruses. It's an excellent idea, and it's paying off for me. I much prefer it than just whacking on an overdrive pedal and seeing how loud they can make these choruses, because it drowns everything out, it melts, it doesn't mould. The verse seems to only be like drum and bass with a guitar riff thrown in every 4th bar.
Yeah.
That's
that actually.
Are you not a fan of that?
I thought at this point, I feel like that, you know, so this again is going to be very contradictory by me.
Mm-hmm.
But you know when I said that I like the fact that the way that the guitar breaks things up, I feel like it's getting a bit overused now. Like, and it's not even an interesting sort of guitar to break it up. It's just dun-na-na, 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 dun-na-na. It's just like it's not. It doesn't add much to the song, and I think they could have done something here to make it more interesting. I'm not sure what you think about that.
Let's see. Now we've got different opinions on how a verse should go. What I didn't like is all the instruments together, dead loud, and then a weak chorus because their impact isn't there. I like the idea that they've slowed these choruses down. They've made it a little bit quieter, so they can go into the chorus. You seem to be the other way around. You seem to be like, there's no point of the guitar being there. Add a little bit more, make it a bit more interesting. You want it more like the second album, where there was loads of shit going on.
I do want that guitar, but I don't want them to just it was kind of basic. And also, if you actually think about it, you know that the guitar that broke it up every 4 lines, that repetitive dun-na-na, 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 that was exactly what they used in the chorus. It's I have got anxiety, dun-na-na, 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 dun-na. It has got the best of me, dun-na-na, dun. It's just the same, you know what I mean? They're just in the chorus. They're just breaking up line by line, not every 4 lines.
Yeah, I can see.
That's why I just can't. I rated the song overall, and you know, it's just a solid tune on the track. But
I can see where you're coming from. It's at the minute there's a few bits and bobs with this album I'm not a fan with. I can't quite put my finger on them. I think I have with the whole, like, everything sounds a little bit disconjointed, but it works on some other ones. You ready to move on, lad?
To kill them with kindness.
Did you know Jamie Cullum played the piano on this intro?
I did not, actually. I did not have a clue.
So I was like, a couple seconds in, I was like, oh, this could be another drunk uncle karaoke kind of deal.
That's what I was going for. I was thinking, you know, and the piano, it just went on for long. It had a nice, like, sort of pretty twinkly feel to it. And it went on for long enough that I thought, well, it's not going to change now.
Yeah, it's like,
so
they're committed now.
That it was going to be another drunk uncle song.
And then you hear up like those flat notes at the end. It sometimes just sounds like they've rested their forearms. It's and then the riff comes in. It's brilliant.
So heavy.
I don't know whether it is that heavy or it's just because we had piano beforehand. But it's like it's
down.
No, it is quite heavy. It's a proper headbanger in it.
And then so we thought this song was going to be like a nice pretty one at the start, and the first line is he starts barking and then says, "Set the poppy to the snake."
I've got a real big mirror of a smell and I hold it all to the face. Yeah, it's I've also...
I honestly, this was up there again, one of my favourite songs from IDLES in general.
This is a brilliant song. I actually wrote here at the end of the chorus, before going into the verse, I wrote, "Holy shit, it's a guitar solo. First one, I think." If anyone else can point out another guitar solo that we've heard yet, like, please let me know. But like, I was just like, holy shit, I forgot guitar solos are a thing. It sounds brilliant. They got new ideas. They got heavy, meaty riffs. It's a good song, very good song. I'm liking it.
Yeah, I thought it was really catchy, and I like the chorus, just screaming "kill them with kindness." It's just everything in this song I think came together and worked out well, especially with that piano intro that kind of had me fooled. And also they had probably the greatest line I've ever seen in music written in this song.
Oh wow, that is a statement.
Yeah, gna nat 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 no, send the beaver to the dam. He's trying to make the noise of a beaver.
Yeah, I know.
What is this, man?
I just don't think he did it justice as well.
No, I just tried to read it. I can do that.
I know.
No. That's getting cool.
Nah, that's staying in, lad.
Yeah.
Model Village, yeah.
Model fucking Village.
Model Village.
Can I start?
Yeah, go on, lad.
If any non-Idols fans have made it to this point, which I am.
First of all, what the fuck are you
What are you
doing?
doing here?
You've got homework or something. Surely there's something better for you to do.
Yeah, so Model Village, this is the song that I believe that if you do not like Model Village, if you don't enjoy it at all, then I don't think you're ever going to like IDLES any songs, because it's just so... It's just them. It's just like, it's the best of them, really. It's like got the best of everything, and it's got everything that's likeable about them in it. I'm not sure what you think about that.
He's got the tongue-in-cheek lyrics. It's got this meaty guitar riff. It's got the drums. It does have it. You know, you've pointed it out. Yeah, it does have everything, and they're moulding together perfectly.
Mm-hmm. It's probably not. Well, it's got to be. It's just so fun. That's how I would describe it in one word.
It's they're mould. They don't melt. Each part can be heard on its own. No, this is new for them. I did say this before. It is new for them. They do seem to be keeping that up. This doesn't sound as punky as the first two did, or as heavy.
No, not at all.
It's probably more radio friendly. I wouldn't say they're selling out. They're definitely not selling out. But it's a new idea. I'm a bit indifferent on it, whether I like it, whether I don't. I mean, I really didn't like the first album where everything was the same. I loved the second album where a few things were the same, and there was just a riff or two carrying it together. And now everything seems a little bit disconjointed. I'm still indifferent. Can't figure it out yet. But like this...
What I want to know is with Model Village specifically, the only... the thing that carries it through the verses is the dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. It's four notes. How do they make that sound so good?
That's a good point. How? I think it's the lyrics, man.
Notes, and it carries the entire song. And you know what my favourite part about this song is?
Tell me it was the start of verse 2. Yeah, I'm a fucking dragon. Yeah, I'm a fucking dragon. It's a brilliant song. This is a hell of a lot more my sound, but I don't know how like the big fans would find this. It's a little bit off for what they are. It's a different sound. It's a hell of a lot more my sound with these meaty riffs.
And mine. But it's I can see what you mean by that. It's almost like a whole new identity that they've kind of taken on in this album.
I just want to very quickly shout out before we move on, there's a tabloid friendly in the village, and then in brackets, don't read the sun. Big up.
Brilliant.
Big up.
Big up. I caught that as well.
That's it's an excellent song. I'm a fan.
And also, can I just say about this song? The whole song, all the way through in the verses, there's just like a repetitive bass in the background, and it ties the song over really well. But then it gets to the last verse where it talks about the villagers burying the riches, and it just cuts that bass, and it's just like a proper like raw on its own, just a dun dun and a few drums, and it just ends the song so nicely, and it brings it to a brilliant finish.
Yeah, it's a really good song. I'm a fan. You ready to move on to? I'm not going to pronounce it. I'm going to let you do that as you're the more cultured one. Ne touchez pas moi, I'd say. Ne touchez pas moi. Is that not correct?
Ne touche pas moi.
Moi. I said moi. Or moi.
So moi. I'll bring you the trivia on this first.
Go on.
So, Ne touche pas moi is what Joe thought the translation of "Don't touch me" is. but he actually got it completely wrong.
Right.
Because I was thinking about this. I was thinking, we've done French before. It should have a meh somewhere in it. I haven't done French for about 5 years, but my modern foreign languages knowledge told me that it should have a meh in it somewhere. So I actually googled the proper translation. They did get it wrong. And so the female singer in the chorus of this that you'll hear is Jenny Beth, and she's actually a French punk singer. And she said, she just said, I'm going to keep the grammar wrong because it's more honest, apparently. But if you buy the deluxe book of this album, there's just a big quote in it that says, "Sorry for the shit French." So at least they've realised their mistakes.
If anyone doesn't know, our Shoney's more or less fluent in Spanish, aren't you?
Well,
so we're going to wait.
Know a few things. I'm not nowhere near fluent, I wouldn't say.
We need to get some like Spanish songs going. Oh, we'll have to do Queens of the Stone Age. They've got bare Spanish lyrics sometimes. You can do a bit of that. We'll do that eventually when they release a new album.
Esto es Queens of the Stone Age.
Well, you did it first, you'd give it. Right.
Give
Right, we actually need to talk. Fucking hell, we actually need to talk about this song, right?
Yeah.
I love the verses chord progression. The vocals are well done in. Like, well, in comparison to the other albums, the vocals are much better this album. I think it's just because they're a bit louder and crisper. I can see they've come together as musicians really well on this album.
Yeah.
But they've lost a little bit when it comes to how raw they were.
Yeah, they've lost their identity in a way, but
no, they're not their full identity.
Not their identity, but what their music was identified with, sort of thing. I don't think they've lost their entire identity because Joe is still Joe. But I've got to say, love the purpose of the song, love the message. Got a good beat, and I actually like the guitar hook in the chorus.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like the chorus overall. I don't know why.
Consent!
Yeah, but I just think his voice didn't gel well with that of Jenny Beth's. You know, when she's screaming, "Ne touche pas moi!" And yeah, I didn't rate that.
It's stuff like that which makes me think, if you really liked Brutalism, you could be very indifferent to this album.
In fact, no, I think if you really like Brutalism, you'd be pissed off with this song.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think they'd be pissed off with this song. I think they'd be, because it's a very different sound. It is a very different sound. It's a decent little song. It's not my favourite whatsoever, but it's a decent little song. Do you want to move on, mate?
Yeah.
Right.
Carcinogenic.
Carcinogenic. Right. The same. Just ready to talk. Like, they've used the same bass tone on more or less all the songs here. It's doing it. It's getting on my tits just a little bit. I've kind of heard it all at this point. You know what I mean? There's not many other ideas coming in. It might just be a bit of a throwaway song, and I'm not too sure. It might just be a bit of like a whatever. But there's not much doing it for me. I do like the breakdown where it's just like the drums and vocals, but there's not much to write home about this song personally.
I personally think that this is the IDLES version of Park Life.
Wait, did you say the IDLES?
They're just like... No, I said IDLES. I hope I didn't say the IDLES. If I did, then I would get destroyed. Well, I'm not, because only 3 of you fuckers have made it to this point.
I reckon a few of them. Right, we should get them to comment something if they actually make it to this point. What should we get them to comment?
You can comment the last thing that I say. In the
What?
entire
No, because... Yeah, alright. Okay.
Right. But,
this song, I'm just indifferent to, mate.
Yeah, to be honest, there isn't too much going on, but I don't know. This song was like, again, I've told you already that about my strange order of listening to it, and Carcinogenic was obviously one of the first songs I listened to because I listened to this album first, and you know when, and up to this point I was actually kind of hating it, I was dreading it, but when he said, "You're gone when you're gone, so love what you can," I just kind of realised I was just being far too close-minded with this, and like not actually like trying to listen to the music. I was just like going with my preconceptions of me not being able to like these, and I think that's what he wants you to do. That's what Joe has talked about before. It's not about changing the world, it's about opening up people's minds and creating discussions, and this shouldn't be the song that did it because it had nothing to do with that really, but but it really did. I don't know why. I actually kind of like the song, probably, but only because of that. And the best part about this song is "Gotta Be the Bridge," hasn't it? I'm not sure if you remember it.
Go on, do go on.
He just starts shouting things and listing them really loudly, and then he just shouts "carcinogenic" after each one. So, methamphetamine, crack, and heroin, and living a life on tickets.
Oh yes, I do remember it now.
10 pints of G, Mad Dog 2020, 2 pints of Bucky, and some boozy oozy years. Carcinogenic.
So yeah, I can hardly even remember that, man. It was just a bit of a throwaway song for me. But if you loved it, I'm not going to take it away from you.
I definitely didn't love it, but I thought it was a decent little tune.
Do you want to talk about Rains, mate?
I do want to talk about Rains.
Right, I think we should talk about Rains. First of all, what a transition between the last song. It's between Carcinogenic and Rains. It's really good.
Yeah,
Go.
Can I said I usually have a gripe against pointless endings with the weird wobbing bassy noise, but it did flow extremely well into Rains. It
did. It really did. The song again is one of them that sounds smooth and menacing and thick. It's got a really good build up into the chorus as well. But I've noticed on this album the lyrics, they're just a little bit not as brilliant as they were on the last album.
No, I think they've.
I haven't nearly pissed myself laughing yet, which is not what I expect of them. But it's like whatever.
But I also think that this one's a lot more musically competent.
Mm-hmm.
I just think maybe they're kind of slightly moving away from that. Like, not as many songs. If you look through it, there's stuff like, I don't know, like general songs, "Kill Them with Kindness," "Brains" even, and what was the other one that I was thinking of? "The Lover," the next one coming up shortly. It's just like they're not as severely politically driven, are they? They're not. So they're not going to have all this funny tongue-in-cheek nonsense.
And it's not like I was expecting another June.
No.
Or anything like that. I was never expecting him to make another one of them. That was horrible. Well, not, like, just lyrically wise, it was a great song. But, like, they just seem a bit...
Rains.
Go on.
Rains. If you listen to Rains, and then you listen to any given song... on the first album, you can see the vocal development of Joe over the course of 2-3 years. 3 years it's been. Oh my! When he screams "Pour my rains," like, for all I knew, I was literally thinking that could have been Dave Grohl. Like, it was just so like powerful and well sung.
Yeah. I love how he just gets louder and louder as the song goes on as well. Him himself, not like the lyric, or not like actual music, but he just starts fucking belting out "How Does It Feel?"
Yeah.
It's a decent little song. It's not my fave, but it is decent. Right. Next song up, The Lover. Now, It's
Thought it was a bit simple.
another one I'm just a bit, it's
Yeah.
an alright song. I mean, the verse is nice and smooth, the chorus is nice and loud. That seems to be what they're doing this year. Oh, this album.
I love the main lyrical hook of this song is him just going, "Fuck you, I'm a lover."
Or da 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 da. Don't it feel good?
No, yeah. Da 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 da. Don't it feel good? That I really like that chorus. I think that's one of the stronger choruses they've had.
It's classic Idols, isn't it? There's not a lot of new ideas coming in. I mean, there is in the album overall, but it is classic Idols. There's not too much else to chat about, really. I wouldn't say they're running out of new ideas, but they're not trying anything interesting.
Can I say the best part of this song is towards the end where he starts screaming "eat shit" louder and louder and louder, and he changes the last chorus from "don't it feel good" to "da da 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 don't it taste good." Like that is brilliant. Like that's just that's like proper Idols tongue-in-cheek genius. That
they're getting.
You ready to move on to a bit of a more fiery song? A hymn, some would say.
There really wasn't a lot to talk about on The Lover, was there? I'm getting to talk about him though.
No.
I'm pretty sure this got released before the album. I think it was one of the singles.
Right.
If this was one of the singles, I'd be a little bit concerned that they've completely lost their sound. But it's nice and clean early on. It's chiller. The chill vibe is much needed, might I add. We've had some heavy ass riffs going on so far.
Definitely.
The drums bring it all together at one point. It's very new. I like that they've brought out a new idea. I'm very happy with it, and it worked well in my eyes. I think it's a nice little song.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I'm not sure if you're going to agree with me here, but I think if he could have sort of brought, I mean, again, this will just show the evolution, but if he brought this sort of because it's obviously a slower song, if he brought this into what's the last song of the first album called? It's going to annoy me. Can't think. Slow Savage.
Oh, on the first album, sorry, yeah, Slow Savage.
Yeah. So if he was singing more like this on Slow Savage, that would have made it a better song. Because I think it just I didn't think it would work when I saw how slow it was started.
Yeah.
And I just sort of really quite enjoyed the song. I was pleasantly surprised, I've got to say.
Because I've been listening to so much Idols, I was waiting for all right, when's the crash cymbal and all the power chords coming in?
Yeah.
But it just didn't really happen. It was a nice little chill out. It's most definitely not what they've done before. It's a nice little song. I'm a fan.
Him singing, when he sings, "I wanna be loved. Everybody does." He sings that so well, and it's just got such a feel about it. I think it does do well. And I think the very end as well. The instruments just start dropping out slowly, and it just fades into nothingness in a really, really nice way, which was very suitable for the song.
I've noticed the theme of love has been on quite a few songs here, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially the final two. There's a little bit on Model Village, a little bit on War. It's not too sure what they're going for here. Not too sure if it's a bit of a concept album. I can't see it in my eyes, but it's definitely talk about love a lot. You ready to move on to the final song, lad?
I mean, I'm not sure if I am ready to end this 2.5 hours of joy that we've had so far. But if we have to,
been brilliant.
We can move on to Danke.
Yeah, so they're back on their bullshit. straight back in with the heavy stuff.
Back to the norm.
Yeah.
It just is, isn't it?
What I did notice, I don't think the song was even like that heavy, but it just seemed that way because of a hymn was so chill.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been talking about, like, the whole fucking podcast. You must be sick of hearing me talk about it now. But the contrast of quiet to loud can help out bringing impacts so much. It needs to be done more, and they've taken a whole chill song here, and then Danke's hitting hard at the minute. It's I love the guitar riff. It's quite catchy. The drums drive the song. Very prominent drums. I really like the song, but I'm not happy with the abrupt finish.
Well, I personally, I didn't like the song too much. It kicks in after about a minute and a half properly. Some elements start to build, and then it goes a bit chaotic for a while and a bit all over the place.
Yeah. It sounded like the end of a Rottweiler where you just go, keep going, and you're fucking knackered.
No, but that was at least it had some timeliness to it, but this was just a bit kind of, I felt it was more chaotic than that and all over the place more than chaotic, really. Just like, anyway.
Yeah.
But
it's
then when it got to the very end and he sings, I think it's like literally the last minute, he I'll be your hammer, I'll be your nail, I'll be the house that allows you to fail. And they amalgamate all of the elements that they built up throughout the song and put it into this ending, and it works so. And I agree with you about it's too abrupt at the very end, but just this sort of last sort of minute section, it's good. It works really well. But for me, it was far too late, and the song was already done for me, and I'd already skipped it by then. You know.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't listen to the first half just so you could listen to the second half, would you?
No, not at all.
It's I do kind of like the song, but it's not really This is very different from the rest of the album, isn't it? It's quite odd. It's not like the smart riffs and the smart intertwining guitars and bass and all that. It is different. It's very different.
And there's not much singing on it again, is there?
No, there's hardly any lyrics. There's a lot of haze.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, ha, ha. But overall, it was a strong finish to the album for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wouldn't have got there. So, I don't know how I kind of rate that. I think it's a decent-ish song, but it's just not for me, I don't think.
I'm not a fan.
I love the drums in this, though.
Yeah.
It was the drums were very raw.
The hurricane of noise that comes before the actual decent noise, it's just, it does sound a little bit messy, and it sounds different.
Yeah.
If it was on any other album, we wouldn't be talking about it, but because the rest of the album sounded so tight and everything, it's very noticeable as a difference. Lad, I think that's it. I think we've slated IDLES front to back.
Let's answer the question that we kind of posed at the start of this album then. So this album was going to have, as we said, it felt like it was going to have stronger production about it, and it could have gone one or two ways. In your opinion, did it go well?
It's definitely tighter. The songs are smarter. It's probably better produced, but it's just lacking in new ideas. They changed up the structures of how they actually make their music with less power chords, less noise, and more smart riffs. I like that, but there's not much else going on. Overall, it's like classic IDLES, and it worked out. It's a good album. I just wish they tried one or two more things. Like a hymn worked out so well. The piano start at the start of what song was that?
Kill 'Em With Kindness.
Kill 'Em With Kindness. do something like that, it works so well.
Mm.
And then it really helped with the rest of the song, the quiet to the loud. It's a good album. I did enjoy it, but it's not quite Joy. It's definitely a downgrade from Joy. I don't know whether it's because they just ran out of ideas, or they genuinely just struggled to make another Never Fight a Man with a Perm, or Colossus or something. Or that maybe they just didn't want to. Maybe it's a artistic choice. I don't know. Overall, out of 10, I'm giving it a strong 6 to a light 7. Probably more to the light 7.
I am well in the 7 party, and personally I think that it did work really well. I'd be interested to see what IDLES fans in general think of this album. I haven't actually looked at any opinions really.
From what I've seen, everyone definitely prefers Joy.
Right.
But I don't think anyone's calling it a bad album. I think people are just calling it not Joy, and I think they need to kind of get that out their head. They've developed as musicians. But go on.
I am in the party because there is a couple of songs, especially for me, Model Village, Kill Me Kindness, and Grounds, that I like so much. I think I've got to go strong 7. Real strong 7.
Wow, higher than Joy.
It's not breaking 8, but it's definitely a strong 7 for me.
Alright. I wasn't expecting that.
This was my favourite album, definitely.
Okay. Well, I think, you know what we should start doing? We should start rating their discography so far out of 10, just in total. Well, how would you rate, like, the band?
Overall?
Or everything. Overall, what would you give them out of 10? I mean...
I'm saying because they've had 3 albums in 3 years, and there's still potential there. I'm going to give the band as an overall. I'm going to stick with the mid to strong 7. Mid 7.
Yeah, I mean, if they were on at a festival, I'd go see them if nothing else was on. But I don't think I'd travel to Manchester to go see them. I don't think I'd be...
because they're playing in Manchester next year?
They are playing in Manchester next year.
Yeah. There's still tickets available? £30? 36, I think.
We'll think about it. I think I'm probably going to join you on the light 7, mate. Because Brutalism was so disappointing for me. Yeah, I was not a fan of it. It doesn't get higher.
I've discounted that in my ratings though, because it was the first album and they've got so much better since then. That's why I've discounted it.
But as like all discography, well, to be fair, as all discography, surely we should be just taking an average of our first 3. Well, no, because we don't take into account how well they mix together and how well it transitions and how well it flows together.
I think as well, if you're rating the band as in the state that they are overall now, I think it's only fair to take the more recent stuff into account a bit heavier.
Yeah, it's heavier, it's smart, it's more well produced. I'm probably gonna give it like 7. It barely gets 7 though, because of purely because of Brutalism. But yeah, I think that's more or less it for this podcast, lad.
Yeah.
I enjoyed listening to IDLES. I had some fun. Learned a few things.
Say, pleasantly surprised. Very pleasantly surprised by IDLES.
I remember you Shoney called me up about 4 songs in to Brutalism. Yep. He goes, Stan? I go, yeah, we got a problem. And I go, what's the problem, mate? And he goes, I've got a real bad problem. I'm like, holy shit, what do you need? And he goes, I fucking hate IDLES. And like, oh shit, this is going to be a great podcast. And then he started listening more, and it seems like you enjoyed them, lad.
Yeah, I think I've probably listened to each album probably three times probably. Like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling them now. I am. And originally, I even said up until like 2 days ago, I was like, no, not adding any of it to my playlist. It's not that good. But yeah, really, in the end, it's turned out to be something that I've really enjoyed. Happy? You happy, Stan?
Yeah, whatever.
So,
Relatively happy.
There's only one thing to do on the podcast, and that's to say toodle-doo to the podcast. Toodle fucking do.